Welcome back to the Deep Dive Report Show. We're here again, trying to cut through the absolute bullshit fire hose of information, the chaos, especially the stuff swirling around Donald Trump and his people.
It's relentless. And today we're diving deep into something truly alarming. A direct legal assault on the independence of our own federal judiciary.
Yeah, spearheaded by Stephen Miller, remember him, the architect of some of the ugliest, most controversial Trump policies.
So absolutely. And his group, America First Legal, or AFL, which, by the way, he supposedly stepped away from right before, wouldn't you know it, popping back up in the White House sphere.
Convenient.
Yeah.
And now this group, AFL, has filed a lawsuit, get this,
Right.
against Chief Justice John Roberts.
The Chief Justice of the United States. It's quite a move.
So what's the argument? What are they even claiming?
Well, on the surface, their argument is that key administrative parts of the federal court, specifically the Judicial Conference and the Administrative Office of the U.S. courts, well, they shouldn't be part of the judicial branch.
Wait, what? Where should they be then?
They're arguing these bodies should actually be considered part of the executive branch and therefore under presidential control.
Presidential control of the court's administration.
Exactly. And it's important to understand what these bodies actually do. The Judicial Conference, it sets policy for the federal courts. Think rules, procedures, how the whole system is managed.
Okay, the policy side and the administrative office.
That's the engine room, the
Yeah.
day-to-day operations, the budget, the IT, managing clerks, probation officers, all the practical stuff that makes the courts function.
So they literally want the president running the operational side of the federal judiciary from the ground up.
That's the implication of their argument, yes.
And the reason they give, they claim, this is about preserving the separation of powers and keeping courts out of politics.
That's the stated goal.
That is pure Orwellian doublespeak.
Right.
It's staggering. How does giving the president control over court administration preserve separation of powers?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, the entire point of separation of powers is that each branch checks the others. If the executive controls the judiciary's internal machinery, how independent can that judiciary possibly be?
You can't. It completely undermines the whole idea of a check on executive power.
Fundamentally. And there's another layer here. They're using Freedom of Information Act lawsuits, FOIA, as part of this.
FOIA. But doesn't FOIA apply to the executive branch like federal agencies, not the courts or Congress?
Exactly. That's what the law explicitly says. It applies to executive branch agencies and independent agencies. The text excludes Congress and the federal courts.
So how are they using FOIA against the courts?
Well, it seems they're trying to argue these administrative bodies are effectively executive agencies or should be treated as such for FOIA purposes. But this isn't even their first shot at this.
They've tried this before.
Yep. They tried the same FOIA tactic last year, and the Supreme Court's own legal counsel basically told them, no, FOIA doesn't apply to the judicial branch. That's not how this works.
So they lost that argument, and now they're just doing it again against the Chief Justice himself.
Seems like it. Which really makes you question the motive, doesn't it? Is this a serious legal argument, or is it something else?
It feels like disruption, like using the legal system itself as a weapon to tie things up, generate noise, maybe intimidate. It fits a pattern.
It certainly does. The lawsuit also, interestingly, complains about the media and liberal lawmakers supposedly trying to undermine the political independence of the courts.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah.
Coming from this group so deeply tied to pushing a specific ideology onto the courts and defending justices who are facing ethics questions.
It's a classic projection tactic, right? Accuse others of exactly what you're doing. The concern doesn't seem to be about actual judicial independence from politics.
No, it seems more about ensuring their kind of politics dominates and shielding their allies from any kind of accountability.
And if you pull back, look at the bigger picture, this isn't happening in a vacuum. It fits right into that broader project we saw under Trump. Attacking judges, questioning rulings, trying to weaken any institution that acts as a check.
Feels like a continuation, yeah.
Yeah.
An attempt to fundamentally change the balance of power between the branches. Not just disagreeing with decisions, but attacking the structure itself.
And Miller's role is key. Even though he's supposedly back in the White House orbit, AFL is still very much his creation, his legal attack dog.
And AFL does more than just this, right? They're involved in other things.
Oh, definitely. They're leading the charge against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the board in corporations, universities, government, acting like a private enforcement squad for that agenda.
So you see the connection.
Yeah.
Attacking judicial independence, fighting DEI. it all seems to come from the same place, a desire to consolidate power, impose a certain view, and remove any checks or balances.
It really does. Which brings up a question. Why target Roberts specifically? He's hardly a liberal judge. He's a Bush appointee, generally conservative.
That's what's so telling. It suggests that even a conservative Chief Justice isn't safe if he's seen as, I don't know, not loyal enough, or if attacking him serves the larger goal of controlling the judiciary. It's sending a message.
A message of intimidation, perhaps. Letting everyone in the judiciary know that even the Chief Justice isn't off limits if you don't toe the line or if you uphold certain institutional norms.
And they didn't just name Roberts, did they?
No. They also named Robert Conrad, who is the director of that administrative office we mentioned, the place that handles the nuts and bolts.
So they're targeting the policy head and the operational head. It really does look like an attempt to grab control of the entire machine.
The whole infrastructure. And what's also striking is how this completely ignores Congress's role. The Constitution gives Congress the power to set up and organize the lower federal courts.
Right. Article 3. They're trying to just bypass Congress and claim these congressionally created bodies belong to the president.
It's a direct challenge to that constitutional structure and the timing. Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
Also,
All this pressure on the Supreme Court lately to adopt a binding ethics code, an enforceable one.
so attack the administrative bodies that might actually have to implement or oversee such a code.
It could certainly be seen that way. A preemptive strike, maybe, to undermine any move towards greater accountability, especially for certain justices.
It's using lawsuits not to seek justice within the system, but to try and break the system itself for political gain. Using the master's tools to dismantle the master's house, but in the worst way possible.
It really throws the importance of judicial independence into sharp relief. It's not some abstract legal theory. It's the bedrock safeguard against tyranny, against any one branch getting too powerful.
If this lawsuit were somehow successful, I mean, the idea of a president directly overseeing court budgets, assignments, administration, it's a nightmare scenario for the rule of law.
Absolutely. So this isn't just some minor legal squabble over administrative classifications.
Not at all. It's a fundamental attack. It's part of that autocratic playbook. Weaken independent institutions, demand loyalty, concentrate power.
And framing themselves as some kind of conservative ACLU in the process is just, well, it's a grotesque comparison given the goals. The ACLU fights for rights against government overreach. This seems aimed at enabling executive overreach into the judiciary.
It's an assault on the very idea of nonpartisan government functions, trying to politicize everything down to the administrative plumbing of the courts.
It's deeply anti-democratic at its core, a direct threat to the constitutional balance.
We absolutely have to recognize the danger here and stay vigilant. This isn't normal political disagreement. This is different.
That really is all the time we have for this deep dive today. Hopefully this helps you make sense of what's going on.
It definitely should. And look, if you found this valuable, if you think it's critical to expose these kinds of power grabs, then please do us a solid, like this video, share it far and wide. People need to know about this stuff. Subscribe to the Deep Dive Report Show if you haven't already.
And definitely click that notification icon so you stay updated.
You don't want to miss what's coming next. We'll see you in the next Breaking News.